Today's ritual is for the Queen of Coins. And the queens ask us to be something, to be the essence of their suit. So pentacles or coins are around health, abundance, wealth, as well as creativity and new ideas. The Queen of Coins is often depicted as pregnant, which I think of as birthing a new idea or a new project. So what the Queen of Coins mostly asks us to be is resourceful. So you're not pinching pennies per se, but you are definitely saving money where savings make sense, or taking advantage of and appreciating what you already have and using that to create what you need. In this video, you'll see me making ginger ale from scratch at home, which I ferment for a week, and then I often have a bunch of bottles in my fridge. And then I'm also making sourdough bread, and it's taken me a lot of trial and error to make gluten-free sourdough bread at a high altitude that is actually edible. But I'm finally there. I'm pretty consistently getting positive results. So what you're going to see throughout the whole process of this is me just making things from scratch. I definitely live in an ingredient household. I do a lot of from scratch cooking, and partially this is because it is much cheaper to do so. So I did the math as a part of this particular episode, and it costs me a little bit less than $6 per loaf to make a loaf of sourdough bread. And the same loaf of bread at the grocery store, like a loaf of gluten-free bread, costs $6 or more, sometimes up to $8 or $10 per loaf. And a grocery store loaf would only last me about a week. Whereas one of these sourdough loaves, because they're so rich and so dense, I tend to slice the slices of them incredibly thin. So each loaf lasts me 2 weeks. So it lasts me twice as long as the grocery store, and it's either the same cost or even less per loaf. And it's essentially half the amount of money. So it's well worth my time and effort to do this. Also, I really deeply enjoy baking. So being able to bake and make things around the house is something that I derive a lot of pleasure from. Not a lot of people do, and I understand that. But I think a lot about the triple constraint triangle in my life. In technical terms, like if you worked in an IT job in a corporation, the triple constraints would be people, time, and money. So if you wanted to complete a software project very quickly, that would mean that you want to go very quickly in time, so you have to pay more in people and money. If you want it to go more slowly, then you can have less money and fewer people. That kind of idea. At home, the triple constraint triangle for me is time and money, and then my own energy and my own ability and willingness to do things. When I was working a full-time job, I definitely had more money than I had time, and I would often pay to outsource things as a result of that. I would have somebody do my lawn care and that kind of thing. And I was okay with that because I knew what that triple constraint looked like for myself. Now, in this world and life that I'm living in New Mexico, I don't have a full-time job. I have lots of time, but I don't have a lot of extra money. So anywhere I can do some sweat equity and actually use my time in order to save myself money, I've been doing that. And it's deeply fulfilling. I really enjoy doing it. But then, of course, there is that constant question of, do I have the energy to do it? So sorry, I didn't mean to pontificate quite so much, but the Queen of Coins does ask us to do something where we're resourceful and appreciating what we have. So for your own projects, it might be baking bread, I don't know. It might also be repairing something that's broken as opposed to purchasing it. Or noticing something that you have in abundance, like maybe you have a cupboard that, you've accidentally purchased 2 bags of flour or too many bottles of sriracha or something. And coming up with a recipe to use some of that that you already have, both to keep yourself from having to go to the grocery store and buy more, but also just to kind of get creative with it and get resourceful about it. I often like to shop my pantry, kind of figuring out meals with limited or no purchases to make a new meal out of what's in the freezer and what's in the pantry. I would challenge you to do that with the Queen of Coins. All right. Thank you, and let me know how this works for you.